From countless eons until now, humankind has ceaselessly sought the truth about the world, about life, and about its very own existence. This journey, though filled with ups and downs, remains an unending aspiration in the heart of humanity. Some turn to science, where reason illuminates every phenomenon, analyzing even the tiniest speck of dust in the universe to uncover the laws governing all things. Others seek the path of spiritual wisdom, where the mind looks toward ultimate reality, contemplating the workings of existence through the lens of insight. For over 2,500 years, the teachings of the Buddha have continuously illuminated the spiritual path for countless beings. His words are not rigid doctrines but rather a profound awakening of wisdom, helping humanity see clearly the nature of life, suffering, and liberation. From teachings on impermanence, dependent origination, and karma to the meditative practices that purify the mind, all of these truths transcend time. As science advances, humans have discovered astonishing wonders of the universe. Today's scientists can peer into the depths of the atom, map the vast cosmos, and unravel the mysteries of the brain and consciousness. Yet, the further they venture into the scientific domain, the more they realize that there are truths beyond the reach of logic, realities that the language of science has yet to fully articulate. Standing at the crossroads of these two great paths, one of scientific discovery through reason and the other of Buddhist wisdom through inner realization, modern humanity begins to see that the two are not in conflict. On the contrary, they share remarkable similarities. The spirit of seeking truth in science mirrors the very essence of what the Buddha emphasized: do not believe anything simply because you have heard it. Do not believe anything simply because it is written in scriptures. Instead, examine it for yourself, experience it personally, and if you find that it leads to benefit and peace, then accept and practice it. There are scientific truths that have only been proven today, yet the Buddha pointed them out thousands of years ago. There are questions that science has yet to answer, but Buddhism has long provided profound insights into them. Can science validate the teachings of Buddhism? And can Buddhism help science unlock doors that remain closed? Let us embark on this journey together, not to place science and Buddhism on a scale to weigh which is right and which is wrong, but to witness the wondrous intersection between human intelligence and enlightened wisdom. Only when humanity learns to integrate both rationality and intuition, to employ the wisdom of science and the awakening of the Dharma, can we arrive at the shores of complete understanding, where both the external universe and the inner world of the mind become illuminated. When examined in its essence, Buddhism is not merely a system of faith based on blind devotion or supplication. The foundation of the Buddha's teaching does not rest upon unquestioning belief but rather encourages individuals to seek the truth through contemplation, reasoning, and direct experience. From the Buddha's words, we can see that he never demanded blind faith from his followers. Instead, he urged them to verify his teachings for themselves, to practice, and to realize the truth within their own minds. When people think of Buddhism, many mistakenly assume that it is merely a system of rituals, prayers, and supplications for blessings. However, in reality, Buddhism is a path leading to enlightenment and liberation through wisdom, meditation, and disciplined practice. In the scriptures, the Buddha clearly stated that merely believing in him without verifying his teachings through personal experience does not constitute true faith. He advised his disciples not to accept any teaching simply because it is part of tradition or spoken by an authority figure. Instead, he encouraged them to reflect, investigate, and practice to see the truth for themselves. This approach closely resembles the modern scientific method. Before a theory is accepted, it must undergo rigorous testing, verification, and empirical analysis. Buddhism is not a rigid doctrine. While many religions require absolute faith, Buddhism opens a path for independent thinking and contemplation. A true practitioner of Buddhism is not someone who blindly follows what is taught, but someone who applies wisdom to examine all phenomena in life and, through such reflection, perceives the true nature of the world and the mind. In the Kalama Sutta, the Buddha instructed the people of the Kalama clan, "O Kalamas, do not believe something simply because it has been repeated from generation to generation. Do not believe something simply because it is recorded in sacred texts. Do not believe something simply because it aligns with your customs. Do not believe something simply because it is spoken by a revered teacher. Instead, examine it with your own wisdom, and if you find that it is true, beneficial for yourself and others, then accept and practice it." This encouragement of independent thinking and empirical verification makes Buddhism strikingly similar to the spirit of science. Buddhism is not a system of blind faith but a path to wisdom, guiding individuals to understand the nature of themselves and the world around them. If science employs empirical methods to test hypotheses, Buddhism employs meditation and deep introspection to explore the nature of reality. The Buddha taught that all phenomena arise due to causes and conditions, and nothing exists independently or eternally. This aligns perfectly with modern scientific discoveries. Take, for example, quantum mechanics, a highly advanced branch of physics that has revealed that matter does not exist as fixed entities but rather as interconnected energy waves. When scientists observe fundamental particles such as electrons or photons, they find that their existence depends on the observer. This idea is remarkably similar to the Buddhist concept of śūnyatā, emptiness, which states that all phenomena lack inherent existence and arise due to interdependent conditions. Another significant parallel between Buddhism and science lies in their approach to consciousness and the mind. Modern neuroscience studies brain activity using experimental methods, while Buddhism employs meditation to directly observe the workings of the mind. The Buddha did not merely teach about the external world but delved deeply into the analysis of human perception, emotions, and reactions to experiences. He pointed out that the world we experience is not an objective, fixed reality but is shaped by the way our minds perceive and interpret it. This insight is crucial, as it suggests that reality is not just what is sensed externally but also what is constructed within human consciousness. In recent years, neuroscientists have conducted extensive research on meditation and have discovered that it can alter the structure and function of the brain. Regular meditation practice reduces activity in regions associated with stress and anxiety while strengthening areas linked to happiness and inner peace. This further affirms the empirical nature of Buddhism, a path that is not based solely on belief but one that can be tested and verified through direct experience. Furthermore, while modern science continues to struggle with fundamental questions such as the nature of consciousness or the origin of the universe, Buddhism has long provided profound insights into these matters. The Buddha taught that the mind is the source of all experiences. When the mind changes, the world changes. This means that reality is not a fixed, objective entity but a dynamic process shaped by human perception. If we compare Buddhism with science, we find that both share a common goal: the pursuit of truth. While science uses measurement tools to explore the external world, Buddhism employs wisdom and meditation to explore the inner world. Though their methods differ, these two approaches complement each other in the search for ultimate truth. Buddhism is not a conventional religious belief system but rather a philosophical and practical framework that can be empirically tested. The Buddha's teachings are not only deeply philosophical but also highly experiential. He did not ask people to follow him blindly but encouraged each individual to practice, reflect, and realize the truth through direct experience. Looking at this, we can see that Buddhism is not in opposition to science but, rather, has remarkable parallels with the scientific spirit. When humanity learns to integrate both the intellect of science and the mindfulness of Buddhism, perhaps we will move closer to a more complete understanding of the nature of the universe and the mind. Buddhism has long been regarded as a profound philosophical system, not merely a religious tradition but also an experiential path with scientific qualities. The teachings of the Buddha are not rigid dogmas but truths that can be verified through contemplation and practice. Because of this, when examining modern scientific advancements, we can observe many similarities between scientific discoveries and what the Buddha taught more than 2,500 years ago. Impermanence is one of the core principles of Buddhist doctrine, referring to the ever-changing nature of all phenomena. The Buddha taught that nothing is permanent. Everything is in constant motion and transformation over time, whether it be human beings, nature, or the universe itself. Looking at life around us, we can clearly see impermanence manifesting in every moment. A flower that blooms beautifully today will wither in just a few days. A person is born, grows old, and eventually dies. Even towering mountains are gradually worn down by time. Remarkably, this principle of impermanence closely aligns with discoveries in modern physics, particularly Einstein's theory of relativity. According to relativity, space and time are not fixed entities but change depending on speed and gravitational forces. This means that all things in the universe do not exist independently but continuously shift according to surrounding conditions. Time itself is not an absolute measure but can stretch or contract depending on the velocity of the observer. This is strikingly similar to the Buddhist view of reality as an ever-changing, interdependent process. Impermanence does not only pertain to the transformation of material things but also extends to human perception and consciousness. Our emotions, thoughts, and mental states constantly arise and cease. A joy today may turn into sorrow tomorrow, anger may vanish in an instant. Thus, Buddhism teaches that clinging to anything as if it were permanent will inevitably lead to suffering when it changes. Alongside impermanence, the law of cause and effect, karma, is another fundamental teaching of Buddhism. From the Buddhist perspective, nothing happens randomly or by the will of a divine being. All events and phenomena operate according to the law of causation. Where there is a cause, there will be a corresponding effect. A seed planted in the soil, given the right conditions like water, sunlight, and nutrients, will sprout and grow. A kind deed leads to favorable outcomes, whereas harmful actions result in suffering. Notably, this principle of causation is not just a philosophical concept but also closely parallels modern science. In physics, causality plays a crucial role. A force exerted on an object produces a corresponding reaction, much like Newton's principle that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. In biology, evolutionary processes unfold according to cause and effect. Species that adapt to their environments survive, while those that fail to adapt become extinct. In Buddhism, karma does not only operate within a single lifetime but extends across multiple existences. Every action, word, and thought leaves an imprint known as karma, which ripens over time, manifesting its results in the present or future. This is why some are born into privilege while others face hardship, why some enjoy good health while others suffer chronic illness. Although science has yet to fully validate the concept of rebirth, studies on past life memories and near-death experiences have hinted at its possibility. Another profound similarity between Buddhism and modern science lies in the concept of emptiness, śūnyatā. In Buddhist philosophy, emptiness does not mean non-existence but rather the idea that all phenomena lack intrinsic, independent existence. Everything arises due to the combination of multiple conditions. A table does not exist on its own, it depends on wood, nails, craftsmanship, and many other factors. Likewise, a human being cannot exist independently but relies on air, food, water, and countless external elements. This perspective closely aligns with discoveries in quantum physics. According to quantum mechanics, matter does not exist in a fixed state as we commonly perceive. An electron, when unobserved, behaves like a wave, but when observed, it appears as a particle. This indicates that the existence of matter is not fixed but is dependent on conditions such as observation and interaction. This directly mirrors the Buddhist notion of emptiness, which asserts that reality is not an inherently fixed entity but is shaped by interdependent conditions. Beyond theoretical similarities, Buddhist practices have also been scientifically validated. Meditation, a fundamental practice in Buddhism, has been extensively studied, with research confirming its ability to alter brain structure and function. Studies have shown that regular meditation can reduce stress, alleviate anxiety, enhance concentration, and increase overall happiness. This aligns perfectly with the Buddha's teachings on the importance of training the mind. Overall, when placing Buddhism alongside modern scientific discoveries, we see that they are not contradictory but rather complementary. While science employs empirical methods to explore the external world, Buddhism utilizes meditation and introspection to understand the nature of consciousness. Although their approaches differ, both seek the same ultimate goal, the pursuit of truth and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe. Meditation in Buddhism is not merely a method of training the mind but also a path leading to enlightenment and liberation. The Buddha emphasized that meditation is the most effective way for practitioners to gain mastery over their minds, eliminate afflictions, and attain clear wisdom. For thousands of years, meditation masters and monastics have practiced meditation and experienced its profound benefits. Today, with the advancement of modern science, especially neuroscience, researchers have been able to measure and validate what the Buddha taught more than 2,500 years ago as being entirely scientifically sound. Numerous neurological studies have shown that meditation has the power to alter the structure and function of the brain. When a person regularly practices mindfulness meditation, the prefrontal cortex, the region associated with concentration, reasoning, and emotional regulation, becomes more developed. At the same time, the amygdala, the brain region responsible for stress and anxiety responses, becomes less active. This explains why those who practice meditation tend to have a more peaceful mind, experience less stress, and have better emotional control. Meditation not only brings about inner tranquility but also improves physical health. During meditation, the body enters a deep relaxation state, reducing cortisol, a hormone linked to stress. As a result, individuals who meditate regularly tend to have more stable blood pressure, a stronger immune system, and a lower risk of stress-related illnesses such as heart disease, sleep disorders, and depression. More importantly, the effects of meditation are not limited to the time spent in meditative practice but extend profoundly into daily life. When practicing mindfulness, a key meditation technique in Buddhism, one develops the ability to recognize and master their emotions and thoughts. This enables them to be less affected by negative thinking, less entangled in the cycle of craving, aversion, and delusion, and, as a result, live a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Beyond personal benefits, meditation also enhances one's connection with the world. When the mind is calm, one can more easily perceive the deep interconnection between themselves and all things, thus cultivating compassion, love, and tolerance toward all beings. This can be observed in the lives of meditation masters and great monastics, individuals who embody serenity, boundless compassion, and an absence of anger or resentment. Compassion is one of the core values of Buddhism. The Buddha taught that compassion is not just a moral virtue but a powerful energy that can transform suffering and bring happiness to oneself and others. A person who nurtures compassion will no longer harbor anger, selfishness, or envy, but will instead live with love, kindness, and a willingness to help others. Interestingly, modern science has also confirmed that compassion is closely linked to happiness. Numerous psychological studies have shown that altruistic individuals, those who care for and help others, tend to have higher levels of happiness. When a person performs an act of kindness, their body releases oxytocin, a hormone that enhances feelings of love and connection. At the same time, the nervous system stabilizes, reducing stress and increasing overall well-being. Conversely, those who live selfishly, solely focused on their own interests, are more likely to experience stress, anxiety, and depression. From a Buddhist perspective, this can be explained by the concept of attachment to the self. When a person clings too tightly to their ego and personal desires, they are more prone to dissatisfaction and frustration when things do not go their way. When the mind is dominated by greed and anger, a person lives in turmoil and is never truly content. Compassion not only brings individual happiness but also fosters positive change in society. When people learn to live for one another, to share and love, society becomes more harmonious, with fewer conflicts and divisions. A world filled with compassion is also a world with less suffering, a place where people can coexist in peace and joy. Looking back, we can see that what the Buddha taught about meditation and compassion is not mere abstract philosophy but can be empirically verified through scientific research. As science continues to evolve, humanity increasingly recognizes that Buddhist truths are not only spiritually valuable but also practically applicable in everyday life, offering concrete benefits of happiness and peace. Therefore, it can be said that Buddhism is not just a religion but also a science of the mind, a path of experiential wisdom that helps people understand themselves and the universe more deeply. Those who follow the Buddha's teachings will reap tangible benefits in this very lifetime, without needing to wait for another world or an external savior. The Buddha affirmed that the path to liberation lies within each individual. If we cultivate mindfulness, compassion, and the abandonment of greed, hatred, and delusion, we will attain true happiness. Through the flow of time, humanity has ceaselessly sought the truth to answer questions about the universe, life, and the nature of existence. Modern science, with its remarkable advancements, has allowed us to uncover many wonders of the material world. However, science still has its limitations, domains beyond its reach, especially when it comes to the realm of consciousness, which cannot be measured by any instrument or device. At this juncture, Buddhism, with its deep tradition of meditative insight into the mind and the nature of perception, can significantly complement science, expanding our understanding of both the world and human existence. Modern science has progressed to the point of discovering subatomic particles, unraveling the mysteries of the vast cosmos, and even intervening in the process of evolution. Yet, when it turns inward to confront questions like, who am I, and what is the nature of the mind, science still finds itself at a loss. One of the greatest challenges for science is the study of consciousness, something we experience every day, yet no scientific definition or model has been able to fully explain. Where does consciousness come from? Does it exist independently, or is it entirely dependent on the workings of the brain? Is it merely the result of biochemical reactions and neural interactions, or is it a non-material phenomenon that transcends current scientific understanding? While science continues to struggle with these questions, Buddhism, through over 2,500 years of meditative practice and inner exploration, has provided profound answers. Buddhism does not view consciousness as merely a physical phenomenon but rather as a continuous stream without a distinct beginning or end. The Buddha taught that the mind is ever-changing, arising and ceasing due to conditions, without a fixed essence or permanent self. He did not investigate the mind using physical instruments but through deep meditation, directly observing the workings of the mind, transcending all illusions, and thereby realizing its true nature. Those who have attained direct realization in Buddhism have perceived consciousness in profound ways, recognizing that the mind is not merely confined to the activity of the brain but is interconnected with the entire universe. This insight aligns with recent discoveries in quantum physics, where scientists have found that nothing exists in isolation, everything is interconnected. One of the major unresolved issues in science is the relationship between mind and matter. From a materialistic scientific perspective, consciousness is considered a product of the brain, a byproduct of biochemical processes and neural activity. However, many aspects remain unclear. If consciousness is merely a result of brain activity, then does it cease to exist when a person dies? How can near-death experiences, reincarnation phenomena, and past life memories recorded around the world be explained? Modern science has yet to provide a satisfactory answer. Meanwhile, Buddhism has long presented a more comprehensive view of consciousness. The Buddha taught that the mind is not merely dependent on the physical body but is a continuous stream governed by the law of karma. When the body perishes, the mind does not vanish but continues to flow, carrying the karmic imprints from one life to the next. The meditative experiences of enlightened beings demonstrate that the mind can exist independently of the physical body. When one attains deep states of meditation, they can directly perceive the workings of the mind beyond the limitations of ordinary perception. In recent years, scientific research on consciousness has begun to align with what Buddhism has long taught. Studies on meditation have shown that meditative practice can alter the structure and function of the brain, helping individuals regulate emotions, enhance concentration, and reduce stress. This suggests that the mind is not a fixed entity but can be trained and developed through practice. Furthermore, discoveries in quantum physics are gradually bringing science closer to Buddhist perspectives. For example, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle suggests that nothing is absolutely fixed or objective, everything changes based on observation. This is remarkably similar to the Buddhist understanding of impermanence and dependent origination, which states that all phenomena lack inherent existence and arise in dependence on other conditions. One area where Buddhism can significantly contribute to science is in the study of consciousness from an introspective approach. While science primarily relies on external observation and objective measurement through instruments, Buddhism employs direct inner observation using meditation to examine the nature of the mind firsthand. These two methodologies can complement each other, bringing humanity closer to a comprehensive understanding of consciousness and the universe. In essence, science and Buddhism are not in opposition but can support one another in the search for truth. Science helps us understand the material world and natural laws, while Buddhism illuminates the workings of the mind and how one can transform suffering to attain true happiness. By integrating both perspectives, one based on objective research and the other on inner realization, humanity can achieve a deeper understanding of itself and the world. The advancements of modern science have created new opportunities for the integration of science and Buddhism, leading to a broader perspective on reality. If science can learn from Buddhism's methods of inner investigation, and if Buddhism can incorporate scientific discoveries to clarify its teachings, then this union will be a powerful synergy, bringing immense benefits to humankind. Thus, we may say that Buddhism is not merely a philosophical system or a religion but a science of the mind guiding humanity in exploring and understanding its true nature. And science, with its ever-evolving progress, can serve as a valuable tool in verifying and illuminating what the Buddha taught over 2,500 years ago. For ages, humanity has been trapped in the cycle of ignorance, unaware of its origins, its destination, or the meaning of existence. Science, despite reaching dazzling heights, has yet to unravel the essence of consciousness or lift the veil on the mysteries of life and death. Buddhism, though illuminating the spiritual path for millennia, requires each individual to walk the path themselves to experience the truth. The quest for truth has never ceased. Today, as science and Buddhism meet on common ground, we realize that the path to understanding is not confined to physical experiments alone but also lies in deep introspection. If science seeks to explain the universe through formulas and equations, Buddhism seeks to comprehend reality through contemplation. Yet, regardless of the approach, both aim to uncover the truth. The difference lies only in the method. One employs mathematical computations and sophisticated machinery, while the other relies on mindfulness and present awareness. But can humanity find true happiness solely through science? Technological advancements may grant us longer, healthier lives, but can they free us from suffering? As long as the mind is governed by greed, anger, and delusion, as long as people chase illusions of fame, power, and material wealth, no scientific breakthrough can truly liberate us. Buddhism does not deny the value of science, nor can science dismiss the wisdom of the Dharma. Science may take humans to the moon, but only spirituality can bring inner peace. Science may create intelligent machines, but only spiritual cultivation can dispel ignorance. We do not need to choose between science and Buddhism, for both have their unique merits and can enrich one another. The Buddha never asked us to abandon reason in favor of blind faith, rather, he encouraged us to use wisdom to investigate reality. Likewise, modern scientists increasingly recognize the tangible benefits of meditation on the brain and overall well-being. Looking back at humanity's journey, we see that the Buddha's teachings are not outdated knowledge but timeless truths. As science advances, Buddhist insights on karma, impermanence, dependent origination, and consciousness are becoming increasingly evident. Thus, in an era of rapid scientific and technological change, humanity needs Buddhism more than ever to anchor the mind. Science helps us understand the external world, but Buddhism helps us understand the inner world. When these two come together, they are no longer separate paths but two perspectives on the same ultimate reality. The journey to truth is long, but if we integrate the wisdom of both science and spirituality, one day, all veils of ignorance will be lifted, and we will see reality as it truly is. May all beings find the path to wisdom, no longer obscured by ignorance, no longer confined by the limitations of reason or blind belief. May science and spirituality walk hand in hand, bringing humanity ever closer to the ultimate truth where the distinction between external knowledge and inner enlightenment dissolves.